Welcome to this explainer. Today, we are completely bypassing the hype to look at the absolute bleeding edge of modern engineering. We're going to decode Rigetti Computing's quantum profile as of May 2026. Look, this isn't just your standard spec sheet. We are genuinely exploring the physical architecture of next-generation, ultra-modern deep tech. Let's find out what it actually takes to build and fund the machines of tomorrow.
Okay, let's start with a very specific, game-changing number. 108. Now, this isn't just some random metric. In the incredibly complex world of quantum mechanics, 108 marks a critical inflection point. It's the exact threshold where theoretical lab science finally transforms into a practical, modern enterprise advantage. Which brings us to part one, the quantum inflection point and practical quantum advantage. Let's dive into why this threshold matters so much. So, with the strategic deployment of exactly 108 qubits, the game fundamentally shifts. Organizations like India's CDAC and top US national labs, they aren't just theorizing anymore. They are actively plugging these cutting-edge quantum systems into their existing traditional supercomputers today. They're creating this ultra-modern hybrid environment, fusing raw quantum power with classical computing to tackle problems we literally used to think were impossible. Okay, part two, the hardware blueprint and architectural edge. How do we actually construct this futuristic blueprint? Enter the Cepheus 11080Q. This became generally available in April 2026 via Rigetti QCS and Amazon Bracket. But when you really look at the specs, the true standout metric isn't even the qubit count. It's the 99.5% median 2-qubit gate fidelity. In the quantum space, fidelity is basically the holy grail, right? It measures how stable and error-free your calculations are. High fidelity equals highly reliable enterprise-grade computing. But to run a machine like Cepheus 1, you need some mind-bending physical infrastructure. Rigetti is one of the very few pure-play companies, meaning they're 100% focused strictly on quantum, that completely owns its own fabrication facility, Fab 1. This masterclass in vertical integration means that when they need to tweak those freezing, incredibly complex Blue-Force cryogenic systems or refine their chip designs, they aren't waiting on some third-party supply chain. They iterate entirely in-house at lightning speed. And this in-house capability feeds perfectly into their core philosophy. As CEO Dr. Subodh Kulkarni points out, achieving practical quantum advantage hinges on a modular architecture. They aren't just trying to brute force a bigger chip, they're designing a significantly smarter one. So unlike traditional computing that relies on massive, monolithic chips, which, by the way, are ridiculously expensive and hard to manufacture without quantum-level errors, Rigetti uses this really clever picks and shovels approach. They call it chiplet tiling. Basically, they connect pristine, smaller 9-qubit chiplets together. It's an ingenious move that drastically reduces manufacturing defects and lets them scale up dynamically without the compounding errors that totally ruin single massive chips. And the ultimate payoff for the superconducting approach is just raw, absolute speed. With gate latency clocking in at a blistering 50 to 70 nanoseconds, Rigetti is literally 1,000 times faster than competing trapped ion or neutral atom methods. And why does that matter? Because quantum information degrades unbelievably fast. Rigetti is literally racing against quantum decoherence. They are finishing massive calculations right before that fragile quantum state collapses. Let's project this cutting-edge speed forward into part three. Scaling to 1,000 qubits and future horizons. We're looking at a highly aggressive, meticulously planned roadmap here. We've tracked the journey from the 84-qubit Ankaa-3 system straight to the 108-qubit Cepheus 1 rollout. But check out what's coming in late 2026, the 336-qubit Lyra multi-chip processor. This rapid scaling is the direct result of that modular chiplet tiling we just talked about, and it lays down the exact runway they need to push into the monumental 1,000-plus qubit era by 2030. That's the milestone that finally promises full error correction. Crucially, this technological leap aligns with a massive market shift. The industry is rapidly moving from isolated lab research straight to wide-scale enterprise deployment. We're talking sectors like banking, financial services, insurance, and next-gen pharma. They're all fueling this. Forecasts are showing a staggering 41.8% compound annual growth rate, driving the quantum market to an estimated $20.2 billion by 2030. But obviously, engineering the vanguard of tomorrow requires serious capital. So let's look at part four, the financial engine and surviving high volatility. When we shift from the physics lab to the actual balance sheet for fiscal year 2025, the contrast is pretty stark. Total revenues actually dropped 56%, down to $7.1 million, and their GAAP net loss expanded to $216.2 million. But look, you can't view this as a failure. This is just the harsh reality of deep tech. Maintaining a proprietary, world-class technological edge demands an absolutely immense, continuous R&D cash burn. So how do you survive that kind of high volatility? The stabilizing factor here is their massive $589.8 million total liquidity reserve. That's not just a safety net, that is a meticulously engineered financial engine. That war chest easily offsets the heavy R&D burn and ensures they have a solid, uninterrupted runway well past the upcoming launch of the Lyra processor. All right, let's synthesize all of this into Part 5, the 20-year verdict and strategic outlook. If we weigh this from both angles, it's fascinating. The bull case champions their unmatched 50 to 70 nanosecond gate speed, that immense $589 million cash safety net, and the sheer operational dominance of owning Fab 1. On the flip side, the bear case rightly points to that heavy 56% revenue drop in 2025 and the undeniably long, complex road to full commercialization. It's that classic deep tech tension, immense future potential versus near-term financial reality. Ultimately, the data really points to this being a core deep tech hold meant for a 20-year horizon. This isn't about a quick flip, it's a long-term play on the foundational computing architecture of the next century. For those of you watching the immediate timeline, circle the May 11 earnings call. That's going to be the critical moment to watch for updates on commercial bookings and the Cephia system rollout. And that leaves us with a provocative final thought. In this relentless pursuit of ultra-modern technological supremacy and practical quantum advantage, the stakes literally couldn't be higher. So as an industry and as investors, are we truly prepared to stomach and fund the massive decade-long cash burn required to actually secure the ultimate technological frontier? It's an incredibly bold vision of the future, but it demands a truly uncompromising commitment